Hi, everybody. I am just waiting for some more of you to join in. I'm actually waiting for my friend Medha from Amrutha Bindu Yoga. And this live is basically where I want to speak to Medha about her experience with our the Sitar and yoga session. And I just want to understand from her point of view how she felt and so because a lot of you have asked us like about this sitar yoga session, and what is it all about, why should you be joining. So I thought it's a good idea to just speak to someone who's actually been in the session, so that you can get a better idea of what it is, and you can hear about it directly from the horse's mouth. So I'm just going to see if I can send Medha a request. All right. So I'm just waiting for Medha to come in. All right. So go live with Amrutha Bindu Yoga. Yeah, I've accepted. So, Medha, I've accepted the request. I'm not sure. Okay, it says Amrutha Bindu wants to be in this live video, and I'm like, go live with Amrutha Bindu. All right. There you
Finally.
are.
Hi, Pragya.
Hi, welcome. Okay, let me introduce you. So, everyone, this is Medha Bhaskar. She's the founder, the co-founder of Amrutha Bindu Yoga. Amrutha Bindu Yoga is the yoga studio where we do our sitar and yoga sessions. And it's a great studio, fully equipped with all of the props that you need for to do like amazing restorative yoga sessions. So all the blankets that you need, all the chairs that you need, everything is available in this shala, and you should definitely check it out. It's in JP Nagar, and so the last sitar yoga session that we did was at your studio, Amrutha Bindu Yoga, and you also attended it. So I thought we can have a discussion, a quick discussion about how you felt as someone who attended the session as a participant, how you felt, your insights into. For instance, how was it? How was the experience? Because you're a regular yoga practitioner, and here we had the sitar music also. So how did you feel? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was so excited to have both of you, at the studio with us, because I think the first time that both of you sort of came into the studio and Nikhil started playing the sitar, I was kind of hooked, and I'd had an especially stressful week, and I had the opportunity to, do this on a Saturday, and therefore, like, I really felt like my tension melt away. First of all, Iyengar practice, restorative practice is by itself so incredible, right? And as teachers, that is one of the things that we don't get very often, right? To be able to just turn off your mind and go to another teacher's class and really be like sort of held and taken through. And I felt like there were like two hands holding me, right? Like the yoga practice as well as the sitar. The music was just out of this world. And because I'm a regular practitioner, I'd done some of these practices, but uh, the practices were so simple. They were so supportive. They were so restorative that it was so easy to sort of just slip into like a quieter space. And in that quiet space, there was also music, right? And it was a live thing. He was sort of looking at us, and he was sort of looking at what kind of asanas that you had prepared, and sort of making it very holistic in that sense, right? Like it was completely tuned, like it felt perfectly aligned to each other.
Right, the music and the yoga. So, but describe, what it felt like to be in the room, because definitely like live music. The difference between like live music, having an artist there rather than just like a recording. What did it feel like in the room? And because people who are watching us right now, they might want to know like how is it different? What will I experience if I register for the session?
So, that's such a great question, right? Because as a long term yoga practitioner, I've just done yoga without anything, right? And we generally don't in India, at least, we don't have music playing in the background, right? So I was also quite curious about how it would be, but it almost felt like I was inside the music. It wasn't like I was listening to it. I think I told you this, just after the session as well. It just I could almost feel it around me, and if I could feel it envelop me, and I could really, really tune a lot of the stress that I was feeling out. I think that's I mean, a lot of times these days we talk a lot about healing, and we don't really sort of understand the importance of these everyday experiences. So I just felt like there was a huge weight lifted off my back, and it was so poetic, right? It was so the music itself was so complementary that it felt like a multi-dimensional experience.
Like basically, when we say immersive, it is immersive in the true sense of the word. You just feel
Yeah,
like inside the music.
I think it's the OG of immersive.
Nice. So, what would you tell somebody who hasn't done this experience ever? Like music, live music. Yeah, a lot of people practice with music, right? Like, I mean, we can turn on like some music, but like this whole experience with like live music, very soothing and relaxing music. What would you tell them? Someone who's never experienced, like, how would you encourage them to go and attend our sessions?
Oh, I think it's a no-brainer, right? Because even with playing music, I don't think you have this kind of experience. It is constantly looking at the practitioner and the posture, and like throughout the session. And I sort of told Nikhil this at the end of the session as well. It felt like he knew exactly what I needed at that point, and the tone sort of changed accordingly, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't the same. I'm not really very educated in music, so I don't know too much about the sitar. And in fact, it was the first time I'd ever heard a live sitar performance. But it
Oh,
did not feel flat. It did not feel, like a stated kind of thing. It was it was responsive. It was adaptive. And therefore, I felt like it was such a beautiful experience because with the yoga also, we didn't do the same set of postures or like similar themed postures. It was a holistic experience. We moved in all ways that is possible. And the music also sort of had that same theme, right? Like in spaces where I was feeling very open, the music was very lively. And when I was feeling a little, muted or like little softer on the inside, the music also followed that tempo, right? And I think that you can't sort of replicate that. You
yeah.
can't. It's so much of a human experience that this
Right.
brings that I feel like it is definitely something that you should experience.
Yeah, because one thing that I'm constantly emphasizing about these sessions is that the relaxation it's truly coming from the inside, and that's something that's very visceral and palpable for everyone who's attending the sessions. And we saw that last time also. People immediately said, "Yes, we're feeling more relaxed." But you being a yoga practitioner, a long-term yoga practitioner, do you think that that music can actually impact, the subtle energies of the body? Do you think that's what's happening?
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. Like that's what I felt, right? Like I felt like it took me such little time to sort of slip into a deeper awareness or a conversation with myself. right?
Yeah.
So I could feel a lot more. Since I'm also, you know, somebody who's trained to sort of understand. But what was really fascinating for me as a yoga teacher was that at the end of the class, I felt that everybody sort of had the same kind of softer perception of what they were going through. Right, the conversations, like, we were all speaking softer, we were all
Yeah.
breathing better, and we had such a wonderful discussion at the end of it. Like, I think that suddenly that it felt like there was some space that got created,
Yeah.
right? And I don't think that we give ourselves that very often.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. It's like an oasis in the middle of the week or the middle of the month or the end of the week and like middle of the month or something like that. Perfect.
Yeah.
Like right before the festivities begin. I,
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I was so thrilled that, we planned another session almost immediately. In fact, I've been telling all my students about it because I feel like it can be such an important pause before the madness of the festivities, right? So I wanted to ask you, like, how do you plan this? How did you decide what sort of things go into a restorative practice? What is a restorative practice?
So, restorative practice is basically a sequence, a yoga sequence, which is designed to calm down your nervous system. So, I'm glad you asked me this because a lot of people think restorative just means that it's easy or that you just insert a chair and a block randomly in the practice. But it's actually not that. It's a sequence which is curated so that we work on your hormonal balance. We work on your nervous system, balancing your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. And at the end of this sequence, and the sequence also is properly designed. You're not just doing a bunch of asanas. You're starting from somewhere, and then you slowly go deeper and deeper into the body, relaxing in the body, and finally at the end, that's why you feel the sense of complete relaxation and slowness. Like a lot of students will say, yes, my mind is calm. So whereas, so the difference is, like, if you are just doing a relaxing yoga sequence, let's say something which is easy, like a beginner sequence, the kind of relaxation and the slowing down of the mind that you will get in a restorative sequence is very different from what you get with just a relaxing sequence. So that's how I basically plan it. I think about what is the best way to get a student to go within, to go deeper, so that they only focus on themselves. You only focus on yourself, you tune everything out except the music. And that in itself, that, focusing, that single pointed awareness, how they say in yoga, on yourself, on your body, on your mind, that is what actually calms down your thought processes, the kind of thoughts that are coming into your mind. and and that's how, like, from the inside out, it's not, we're not focusing on relaxing the physical body, you're actually focusing on relaxing and getting in touch with the subtle body. So that's
I
how.
think I think that sort of is such a beautiful way to put it, right? Because I feel like there were so many people who came into the first session who were completely new to yoga, who don't have a regular practice, and I saw that they had the same experience that I did, right? So I don't think that it is just for people who have been doing yoga for a very long time. It is for anybody who just wants to try this, right?
Yes, yeah, and a lot of, like, I feel like a lot of students who've already done yoga, sometimes they'll say, okay, I don't want to use this prop, I don't really need it, and then I always tell them, see, the bolster is not only because your head can't, reach your shins. It's not for that, really. We are trying to have the forehead resting. There's rest is very different from just ease. you know so and that's what we're trying to do. So when we did, like, downward dog, for instance, with the bolster under you, a lot of students can actually have the head all the way down to the floor, but that is not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is bring a state of rest to the body, a state of calm to the body. And so these sequences and the way we're using the props, for instance, we're using a bolster, we're not using a block. So the way we're using the props, also the strategic way that we're using these props, that also contributes to what you get out of it, how you feel at the end of it. So it's the sequence in itself might seem like, okay, it's going from one asana to the other, not very difficult. It might seem very intuitive also, but actually, no, a lot of thought goes into making a sequence a restorative sequence. It is not just an easy sequence.
It almost felt like a moving meditation. Like I wasn't moving so much. I was moving between asanas, but it really felt like for this 1.5 hours, I was really not thinking about anything else. I wasn't thinking about all the deadlines I had and the number of classes that I needed to do or anything else. Right.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was a very, very enriching experience for me.
Yeah,
So,
like you're saying, it was fluid. We're flowing from one asana to the other, and that's not something like a lot of people don't really think of it like that. A flow is usually associated with another kind of practice, maybe like a vinyasa flow, like a lot of times. And restorative yoga is never really described like this. But if you really like, I think that's where the sitar comes in. It really helps you to relax and let go, so that you are in that state, that mind body state of just flowing from one asana to the other.
So
uh,
my last question to you actually is, and I have been thinking about it for a while. So what sort of made you think about or consider bringing yoga and the sitar together?
well, I think I would have to give Nikhil the credit for that. He reached out to me on Instagram and he said, would you like to collaborate? And I'm like, okay, this is the first time a sitar player is reaching out to me. What does he have in mind? And he suggested that we bring these two things together. And what I really liked about it is that he wasn't saying that, okay, we'll just film some sitar music. And, I really liked that he is an artist who's been doing it, learning the sitar since he was like in fourth grade or something like that. So he has a guru. It's like the Guru Shishya Parampara, which I can completely understand. I can understand like the immersion that he's had into sitar, and I can understand how important the sitar is to him. How he approaches it with his whole mind, body, soul, everything. That is the kind of connection that he has, which reflects like the connection that I have to this practice. So I just felt like, yes, it is something that has potential. And we just discussed, and then that day we were discussing with you also this whole idea with you, and then we tried a little bit of it in the shala. And I remember the people who were standing outside, they were just mesmerized by what we were doing. So in just in that little amount of time that we spent together, I felt like we had a proof of concept that this is going to work. So I think that's how this thing actually came about. I think it was very organic. It wasn't like we said, okay, now let's look for a sitar player, let's look for a yoga teacher and put it together. It wasn't like that. It was more organic.
I feel like the best ideas always are like that.
Yeah.
Like they just sort of come together and then there's magic.
Yeah. And yeah, we have a question. Why sitar specifically? And why music during yoga? So why the sitar specifically is because Nikhil is a sitar player. Like I said, we didn't specifically go out looking for a sitar artist. He's the one who reached out to us, and he said like, let's do this collaboration. And I thought that I felt like sitar being an Indian instrument, representing Indian culture, Indian heritage, the Indian arts. I felt like, yes, we could potentially have a collaboration where it would sync. It wouldn't seem like just something that is not rhythmic, or it doesn't go together. And why music during yoga? It's something that we're experimenting with, because music in itself is something that can have a profound impact on how you think. Like music it has been shown to change your brain waves also. So there's music played at different frequencies, for instance. It can change the way you think. It can change how you're feeling. So I feel like this really did, again, it seamlessly blends together to bring you in a state of calm, like of enhanced calm. So that's why music during yoga, and not just any music, but specifically this live sitar from an artist who knows what he's doing, who knows the different ragas, who can understand what is appropriate, what is not. So to answer that question, yeah.
No, I also feel that, now sound meditation is very popular. And, a lot of the sound meditation workshops that I have been to have you sitting down, lying down, or, maybe in a aerial yoga hammock, and you are still. right? And I feel like it was a very different thing to be able to sort of get out of a posture and get into another one in the process of this as well, right? I
Yeah.
think it was very, very well timed in that sense, right? Like it just like I didn't feel like throughout the session I felt like I was held, like you knew exactly when I wanted to come out of a posture maybe and when I wanted to get into another one maybe. So I feel like those things really mattered for this experience as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Also, I feel like, whenever like I'm at home and I'm practicing, you're also, your mind is not sometimes all there, right? You're like, okay, I have, my kid is outside, have to have breakfast, and my husband has to go to work or whatever. There's so many things which are natural. It's natural if you're practicing at home. It's difficult for a householder or someone who has a job to really have that single pointed awareness, or just like focus on, on the practice and on nothing else. Usually our practices are timed. I have only half an hour. I have an hour. There's so many things that are pulling at our minds, constantly. And I feel like what you're saying is basically that the music was the uninterrupted, there was this uninterrupted flow of music that was helping you move from one posture to the other and really building that kind of oasis of calm. So I think that's another thing that really enhanced the whole practice. And
yes.
that's an integral part, like, the sitar and the restorative yoga. It was just, and it's an enhanced experience. And both components are important to get this experience.
Absolutely. I totally think so. And I would like wholeheartedly recommend this to everybody who's watching, everybody who sees this later. Please come try. I think, Nikhil and Pragya are wonderful. You're in safe hands and you're in very able hands, actually. So please do join. And, the session is happening this Saturday. 5:30 to 7, and it's also, I think it'll be a very nice thing to sort of wind down your week and sort of get ready for the festivities that are to come.
Yes, yes. And in closing, I'd like to urge everybody to follow me and to follow Amrutha Bindu Yoga, to stay updated about all our upcoming events, because we do plan to do more events, a lot more interesting events. So just follow us on Instagram, social media, and you'll stay up to date on everything. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Medha. Thanks for doing
Thank
this,
you.
for all the information that you shared with us. I will see you soon. Yeah.
Bye
All right.
bye.
Bye.